You might be surprised at the things that we can learn as writers from people who are really successful at YouTube. And you might have seen some of these big names in YouTube, MrBeast, Mark Rober. There's so many people on YouTube that are literally making millions of dollars because they are so good at it. And without getting into YouTube techniques or any of that stuff, I'm going to share with you a couple of things that we as writers can learn from these YouTube experts that will make all the difference in our writing. For an example, let's take Mark Rober. I don't know if you've heard of him or not. It's R-O-B-E-R. You can search him in YouTube anytime. He's a fellow engineer. I like the guy. He's got a very affable personality, and he's clever. He creates all these inventions and cool things, and he's got a huge following, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. Let me ask you a question first of all. If I said, hey, I got this video about squirrels, you got to go see it, and I put the link down there. How interested would you be? Now really, I mean, without trying to make me feel good, how interested would you be? So Mark Rober, he posted a video about squirrels around a year ago, and it has about 90 million views. And many of those views are all the way through to the end. So what does he do that gets 90 million people to see? Now he puts out a lot of great videos consistently, so he has a following. People share his videos a lot. And I want to talk about the things that he does specifically. And there's many other YouTube giants, if you want to call them that we could talk about. But I'm going to focus on him a little bit and the things that he does that will make a difference in your writing. So the first thing that Mark or any of these YouTube giants do that really make a difference is they are ultimately committed. So I don't know if you've ever shot a video and posted it on YouTube. I don't know how much time you spent on it. I've seen people that put something together and they might spend a little time on the script and they might put all together an hour into a 15-minute video, something like that. Mark Rober, he will spend days planning out his video, and then he will spend days constructing the set. And you have to see his video to know what I'm talking about, but by constructing the set, like in the squirrel video I told you about, he created a maze for the squirrels, gave them a reward, so they get nuts if they get to the end of it. No squirrels get shocked, or punished in any way, but they all get to the end of the maze, and he does a whole video about how they figure all that out, and he adds a lot of stuff to it. So he spends sometimes weeks putting that together. And you might be saying to yourself, I do not want to put that much time into making a video. Here is the thing. He is a millionaire because of the videos that he has created and posted on YouTube. We can do the same thing as writers, and sometimes it's just underestimating the level of commitment it takes to get our writing to a certain level. And that's really easy to do because, hey, people write and so writes and she's not that good or he's not that good or I can do better than that. And you might be totally right. So sometimes work that is not very good gets published, it gets a lot of sales, it even gets awards and so on. Usually not awards if it's not good, but you get what I mean. It can still have traction even if it's not that good. So don't let that fool you into thinking, yeah, I don't need to be that good either. You actually do. You need to be that good. So it's commitment to your craft. Commitment to your craft is what's really extremely important. And I want to say another word about commitment is that one of my mentors, Robert McKee, he wrote a book called Story. And just as an example, in the last set of Academy Awards, when they gave out the Oscars, of the winners, like the ones who won the different categories, 16 of the total winners, I think there was 50 some winners in different categories, I don't know the exact number, of 16 of those, so almost a third of those were his students. So he knows his stuff. One of the things that he taught me is that it's important for writers of any kind, screenwriters, novelists, journalists, anything, to notice and be aware of the difference between your writing craft, the writing skill, the writing technique, and the story or content itself. And yet there's some overlap between the two. They are both important, but it's essential for us as writers to know the difference and to improve each one of those. So first of all, if we're not aware that there's two different things, we might be improving in one and not improving in the other. It's very important for the overall effect of our writing, for the overall value of our writing, to be increasing both of those things simultaneously. So back to Mark Rober and what he does right. He uses the CIA method. And by CIA, I'm not talking about the agency in Langley, Virginia, by the way, where I grew up and went to high school right next door to there. I'm not talking about that. I am talking about a different CIA. And the CIA stands for content, as an awesome, valuable content. I'm talking about I for interest, and I'm talking about attractiveness. CIA. And I'm going to give you some examples of that. So first of all, let's just look at clickbait. You are probably familiar of clickbait, right? I have experienced clickbait. I hate it. I think the people that make clickbait are, and I apologize if you're one of these, but I'm not really. That's an insincere apology. They're like human parasites, basically. And they'll have a video or whatever, or a thumbnail you click on, and there's advertisements, and you go to one page and the next page and the next page, and like, for example, a fake news story, and they'll tell you at the end, oh, this was just made up, I thought you'd enjoy it. Bullshit. They thought you'd enjoy it. They just wanted to make something that would make you click on that thumbnail. So the attractiveness of that is high. They figure out the words, the image on the thumbnail, and that is what makes you click. So it's attractive. The interest is something, because you're going page to page to page, right? And of course, the people that do the viruses, the hackers, they do that too. And there's the interest is zero. Once you click on their link and you go to their web page, and they use it to steal your information or whatever it is, that's a whole different thing. And sometimes there's some interest there too. So you think it's legit, so you put your personal information in or whatever. Anyway, these people are scum, in my opinion, but I'm not here to talk to you about that. Interest is really, really important. So if you're writing a book, if your book is not interesting, even if it's written well, even if it has awesome content, if it's not interesting, people won't turn those pages. Similarly, with YouTube videos, if the interest is really high, people will keep watching them to the end, right? So that's interest. Mark Rober, as an example, he puts a lot of humor into his videos. He's a rocket science. The guy is a genius. He's an incredible engineer. He puts these amazing things together. All that is really interesting, but he adds humor. He puts his things together in a very humorous way. If you watch that squirrel video of his, you'll see what I'm talking about. He does really funny things that'll make you laugh out loud. And he doesn't have to, but he's upping the level of the interest. And then there's the content. So the content is it valuable? Is it memorable? Is it something that's going to serve you? If it is, then you're going to go back to that person and you're going to watch it again, right? So this is YouTube example. How it applies to books. Have you ever read a book that was clickbait? I have. I felt really stupid. I bought this book on my Kindle because it had a great cover and a great title, and I'm interested in the premise. So interest is there. Oh, this premise, this story is about this. I'll see what it's about. Oh, that could be good. And I always start with a sample. on Kindle. I start with a sample, I see if I like it. If I like it, then I buy it. So sometimes just that first part with the sample is really incredibly good. They worked on it, and then after that, the book kind of goes down in quality, which I feel cheated when that happens. Or sometimes just the way the story goes, it loses my interest. So I've seen books that were clickbait, where it's got an amazing title, it's got a great cover, that's the attractive, and the interest, it's not there. It just was something that had, somehow it caught my interest, but it didn't hold my interest. So the interest went way down. Or the interest is there, but the content is not. It's not. Have you ever read a book that doesn't even have a spelling check done on it? It doesn't have the grammar's not right or not consistent, or there's all these things wrong with it that really should have been fixed before it went out. Or the story's just awful, in your subjective opinion. I'm talking about my subjective opinion, where I'll read a book and I'll think, wow, this is just not good, right? So the content might not be there. My standard for content, I want to write books that will change your life. I want to write a book that you will read it and you'll feel like, okay, I'm going to see things in a different perspective without even necessarily knowing it, right? I want to write life-changing literature. That's my goal. It does not have to be yours, and it's not a wrong or right thing. It's just that's what I want to do. So for me, that's the C, the content. What is your content? And I'd love for you to put in the comments below, what is your content? Like, what is your C? What do you really want that to be? That's one of the things I'd love you to put down there. So again, having the eye for interest, keep people turning the pages. One of the things you need to do that is to ask questions. So this is going back to our YouTube friends, right? They all raise questions that you want to see. Well, how do they do that? The same guy, Mark Rober, okay, I gave you the example of the squirrels. He made a cannon. He made a t-shirt cannon, and he shot it in a stadium, and it damaged the roof. It was such a powerful cannon. And, it wasn't nearly as popular as the squirrel video. I think it only got 30 or 40 million views. That's crazy. But anyway, so he had this very cool thing, this very amazing thing set up, and he's giving this narrative. He's really excited. He's really interested in what he's doing. So you want to stay with him. You want to pay attention, right? So he's got the content, he's got the interest, and he's got that attraction there. So he brings you in, and I think on his thumbnail there's a picture of a huge cannon, and then he's holding this little t-shirt gun, these air-powered t-shirt guns that they have at sporting events and things like that. So the idea is, it brings you in, and then he gives you the content, keeps you interested all the way through. Same thing with the book. Same thing with the book. So I have seen people that just work on the C. I've worked with writers who write really well, do amazing work, and they don't keep people's interest. So you can write something that's amazing, but if it's not interesting to other people, it's not going to ultimately work. And if it's not attractive, people won't even know about it. If you don't have the perfect title, if you don't have something that'll actually bring them in, a lot of time it's the cover. People will look at a cover, and they will judge a book by its cover. By the way, that's saying that you can't. It's not all true. So the attractiveness needs to be there, the interest needs to be there, and the content needs to be there. I would love for you to put a comment below about which of those three things, the content, the interest, or the attractiveness, you need to work on most. For me, it happens to be attractiveness. I feel I do really good with my covers. I love my cover of Different, right? I'm very happy with it. I love the title of the book. My new title, The Reluctant Visionary, I love that. I think I came up with a really awesome title that interests people. And same thing, The Boy Who Started Fires, that's my third book. I love that title as well. So I feel those things are there. But marketing, the dirty M word. If you're like me, I have a resistance to marketing, but guess what? I'm learning to get better at it. So that's what I'm working on. That part of the attractiveness, marketing attractiveness. Please do comment in the video below. I'd love to hear what's going on with you around your C, I, and A.